Aurangabad, a city that's known for the Patni silk saris and tourist destination like the Ajanta Ellora caves and Bibi Ka Maqbara. Unfortunately, the city is also known for the droughts and suicide of farmers. But today we will unveil a little lesser known aspect. There's a non-profit organization that is mushrooming right here in the heart of Marathwada. The initiative is called Udaan, and it is Dr. Archana Sarda's passion, progression and pride.
इस मिट्टी में मेरी पहचान है, लेकिन नीले आसमान को मेरा इंतज़ार है। इस मिट्टी में मेरी पहचान है, लेकिन नीले आसमान को मेरा इंतज़ार है। जिंदगी की असली उड़ान अब मुझे भरनी है। सितारों से दोस्ती जो करनी है मुश्किल ये सफ़र, लेकिन नामुमकिन नहीं है। इंसुलिन का साथ और मन में ये विश्वास है।
The seeds of Udaan were sown 2 decades back when Dr. Archana Sarda saw her first type 1 diabetes patient.
My name is Dr. Archana Sarda. I am a physician in Aurangabad, Maharashtra. I came to Aurangabad in GMC Medical College through All India entrance, having had schooling all over the country and even out of country because my father was in the central government services. After traveling so long and coming to Aurangabad and settling here and started my diabetes practice, this was way back in 2000. For some time I realized I do not have a child with diabetes. So I asked people around, I asked doctors, I asked everyone who I knew that where are children with diabetes? Where is type 1 diabetes? Because I had seen this diabetes in Dr. Mohan's center, I had seen it in Bombay Hospital, and not a single child came to me. And I was a little worried, and when these doctors told me, oh, why are you bothered about type 1 diabetes? So everyone said these children do not survive beyond the 2nd and 3rd decade. I found it really traumatic. How could that be? But then it was my new practice. I was working with type 2s, and it was the initial years of establishing work, and it was a struggle for me as well. But then what happened one day changed the entire story of my life. A parent came with a 13-year-old girl, and the girl was cachexic. She was not able to breathe. She was so thin, and the parents just dumped her on my table. I was new in my practice, and it is so scary. You can imagine a consulting practice with only team being my receptionist and 1 nutritionist, and this girl is there, and he says that this girl is dying. I have brought her. I have no money. I have been from hospital to hospital. If you can save her, great. If you can't save her, we won't say a word even if she dies, because we have given up, ma'am. And he left the girl there on my table and went. I was at my wit's loss. I just took a deep breath and prayed. Believe me, the first thing I did was prayed. I picked up the girl and I ran to a hospital nearby. So this hospital was just 100 meters away. So I walked all the way there and went to the doctor there and said, this girl is in DKA. We need to admit and treat her. The doctor said, will you do it on your responsibility, and who will pay the bill? I said, sir, I will pay the bill and I will take care of her. And we admitted her. For next 1 week, I was her nurse, I was her doctor, I was her mother, I was her cleaner, everything. So for 8 days, I was with the girl from morning to evening and night time. I came to know her parents. I came to know her siblings. I came to know the trauma of type 1 diabetes beyond just the medical part. Then I realized it is not about just taking insulin and surviving. It is also a social problem. It is also about people discriminating you. It is also being not able to afford the treatment. It is also about people outcasting you in their life, your own family, the entire family suffering because of type 1 diabetes. With that girl's care and the love and the bond that was formed between her and me, I think that was where Udaan was born.
Udaan was formally incorporated in 2005. The foundation already had 50 kids then, and today they are a family of 900 children with type 1 diabetes.
Udaan today has 900 kids, and we always tell mom that they are her real kids and we just happen to be her biological ones. One summer, coming back from college, mom was really upset. Despite having given insulin to all her kids, it wasn't working. The insulin had gone bad in the heat. We had to find a solution that would work in the rural setting of Aurangabad, where kids had no electricity, let alone a fridge. That's when we came up with the earthen pot and pot cooler. This could keep the insulin at a safe, low temperature and costed less than 100 rupees. This pot can be made by any local potter and was also featured in Ehsaas 2014. Today, Udaan is a family mission and we are as much a part of it as her.
At Udaan, the only thing that was constant was change. Dr. Sarda started off providing free consultation and education. However, very soon she made quality treatment accessible to the children, both financial and human resources. But Dr. Sarda has managed to navigate all along.
पिछले 7 सालों से डॉक्टर अर्चना साड़ा मैम के साथ काम कर रही हूँ। उनके साथ बहुत अच्छी पॉजिटिव एनर्जी मिलती है काम करते वक्त। जब बच्चे उड़ान आते हैं और उनके पेरेंट्स को हम काउंसिल करते हैं, उनको जो सेटिस्फैक्शन मिलता है और फिर जब वो ब्लेसिंग्स देके जाते हैं, उससे बहुत सुकून मिलता है। पिछले जब पैंडेमिक शुरू हुए, कोविड शुरू हुआ, तब हम लोग हर गांव जाकर एम्बुलेंस में हमने परमिशन लेके बच्चों को इंसुलिन प्रोवाइड करे, ग्लूकोमीटर स्ट्रिप्स प्रोवाइड किया। वो जो एक सेटिस्फैक्शन था कि बच्चों को उनकी इंसुलिन सप्लाईज मिल रही है, उससे बहुत सुकून मिला। बट सिर्फ अफसोस इस बात का होता है कि हमारे उड़ान में आज भी एक ही डॉक्टर है। बहुत से पीडियाट्रिशियंस आते हैं कुछ समय के लिए और फिर वो लोग पूरा सपोर्ट नहीं कर पाते।
As you can imagine, the journey isn't simple. With lower literacy levels, poor socioeconomic condition, and not so positive attitude towards healthcare, Dr. Sarda has been dealing with one challenge after another. Her first battle is usually with parents and the extended family members of children with type 1 diabetes. She has to convince them to let such children live and start them on insulin therapy.
Motivating families was our biggest challenge. When you come from a rural background, there's illiteracy, there are a lot of myths, and there is a financial restraint. On top of it, that there is a child where everyone tells you it is not curable. It's going to be all their life. What happens is there's no will to live. There were so many people who just don't want to let their child survive because they think the child is going to have a bad life. So our major challenge is to convince them to let their own child live. I know it sounds very mean or bad, but it is true. So very often we have to bribe them. I literally tell them, okay, I'm going to give you a job, I'm going to give you saris, maybe I'll supply food for the year, give fancy things to their kids and ensure them that I'm going to take care of your child. I'm going to ensure his education, livelihood, marriage. We actually do that also. But initially it's almost like a way to offer them something that motivates them to let their child live. Doing all that, we have to handhold them for at least a year. Initial few months is only about acceptance. And then they actually learn, then they get the hang of it. In a year's time, they are happy with their life with type 1 diabetes. So this whole process cannot be done alone. Everything that we do, we have learned as we went along. And the biggest strength that Udaan has is our D moms. And they take care of it and they make this possible.
Dr. Sarda has created a structured training program named My T1 Mom, a D Mom to D Coach program, with an aim to train mothers of type 1 diabetics to become coaches. Today, along with experience and training, these coaches help doctors manage type 1 diabetes patients in villages.
मी एक टाईप 1 डायबेटिक मुलगीची आई आहे. उडान कोचमध्ये मी मदर कोच म्हणून काम करते. आता गुड्डी एक मुलगी उडानमध्ये येते, मग तिचे पेरेंट्स म्हणणं असतं की तिच्या आजी आजोबा म्हणतात कशाला इन्सुलिन द्यायचं, मग नकोच द्यायला. पण का नाही द्यायचं, का नाही काळजी घ्यायची, तिला इन्सुलिनची गरज आहे. आज उडानमध्ये आली मॅम, तिला इतकं छान छान गोड बोलणार, त्यांना सगळं फ्री देणार, आर्थिक परिस्थिती नसेल तर मग त्यांना येण्या जाण्याच्या खर्चासहित देणार, सगळं फ्री करणार. मग ते का काळजी घेत नाही. मग मॅमला आम्ही नेहमी म्हणतो की कशाला त्यांना द्यायचं, नकोच देऊया. पण मॅम म्हणतात नाही, आपण नाही तसं बोलायचं, आपण गोड बोलायचं, त्यांची केअर घ्यायची. मग थोडं वाटतं की असं नाही करायला पाहिजे, सगळ्यांनी केअर केली पाहिजे. डायबिटीस आहे तर व्यवस्थित काळजी घेतली पाहिजे सगळ्याची, की इन्सुलिन घेणं, चेक करणं सगळं केलं पाहिजे मुलांनी. तर मॅम एवढं आपल्यासाठी करतायत, तर मग का करायचं नाही असं आम्हाला खूप चिड येते. मग मला त्यावेळेस खूप राग येतो. असं वाटतं मॅमच्या जागेवर मी असते तर मी सरळ कट आउट केलं असतं, त्यांना नकोच म्हटले असते की नाही करायचं, हे आपण बंदच करायचं, त्यांना नाही येऊ द्यायचं इथं असं. पण मॅम नाही म्हणतात की करायचं, सगळ्यांची काळजी घ्यायची, ते आपल्यातलेच एक आहेत, उडान परिवार आहे असं. मग मॅम सांगितल्यावर थोडं शांत वाटतं.
Language has been the biggest barrier, and with low literacy levels, explaining medical concepts isn't very easy. To overcome the challenge, Udaan has developed educational tools, visual carb counting, board games, seed games, street plays, drama in the local language. Furthermore, children with type 1 diabetes are usually low on their energy levels as compared to their peer groups. This brings along low self-esteem and depression. Udaan has created clubs that bring joy to such children. Udaan now has a drama club, a dance club. They also go on treks. This is an attempt to make kids believe that they can do every other thing a normal child does.
बेड़ियों में मत जकड़ो मुझे, बेड़ियां मुझे चुभती है, अरमानों के पंख है मेरे, अरमानों के पंख है मेरे, उड़ान मुझे भरी है.
Friends and family of Dr. Archana Sarda have been contributing by offering their time and expertise. They've also provided financial support as and when Udaan needed the same. One of the biggest support that Udaan has received in the past years is from the CDIC. They have literally adopted 300 children and are taking care of their need for insulin. Currently, Udaan is in discussion with the state government for making insulin available and on improving the quality of treatment.
Udaan today has 900 children, and these children come from the rural areas in and around Aurangabad. We have come a long way in 20 years. Today, our children are actually receiving the best of optimum care, which is recommended by all the guidelines across the world. They receive insulin, which is basal bolus analog insulins. They receive glucometers and strips. They receive all the investigations and one-to-one education as well as group education. Udaan runs 24/7 helplines as well. But even when we are doing this, we feel we have a long journey ahead. It is a dream that every child in my region of Marathwada, I call Marathwada my Karm Bhumi, and I would like to see one day that every child of Marathwada is taken care of. The only day this will be complete is when every single child in the remotest area of Marathwada, to the last mile, we want every child to be taken care of. Not a single child should ever die because of diabetes. This dream, of course, is my midnight dream. My waking dream is the entire country. Why should a child, just because they have type 1 diabetes and just because they have no resources, why should that child die? So we hope for a new beginning, a new tomorrow, where every child in the world, in our country especially, and in my little Marathwada, lives a meaningful and a long life.